Here comes the dreaded microphone.
How do you guys
What
feel?
are you gonna say to Steve, Sherry? You're voluntold.
You know, I think oftentimes with human resource matters, it's, and as a department head, just trying to get clear in your mind exactly what the message is that you want to tell Steve. I mean, if you can get clear, you can deliver a pretty clear message to Steve. Because I can easily see you sitting down with Steve and talking to him about this, and he's gonna have the impression that you don't want to hear anything he has to say, and he's just gonna shut up and say anything else. And so,
You don't want to shut him down.
and so you don't want to shut him down, but I think that you have to say, you have to give him an example. You have to say, Steve, when you do this, and you give him an example of when you said this to me in front of so-and-so, I felt it's a put down. And I don't like those snarky comments being made, and I want it to stop. You're welcome to give constructive feedback anytime. I welcome that, but not in that manner. Not to put me down. And you're welcome to come in and talk to me anytime in my office, but just one-on-one. But if you start down that road, and you make it clear, no more snarky comments, you have to be willing the next time the snarky comment's made to elevate to a written. You have to say, I'm willing to go to the end with this, or just don't even start it.
That's a very good comment, very good advice. And I think that's what a lot of people, I think like Chad's situation, when he comes into a new supervisor scenario, the predecessor just decided, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this.
Yeah.
And it happens, and I don't know if there's anything we can do to change that part of it, but for us as supervisors, or if we're training our leadership staff, I think that's a very good point to bring up to them. Say, you know what, it's important that you address this, but understand that if you don't address it now, then don't come crying to me later. Because I've had people come into my office and say, look, I've got this going on, and it's not like I want to fire them right now. Well, I've had that too, but I want to fire them right now. It's more of a, hey, what do I do about this? And that's good because they're kind of trying to get a jump on it. And then that's very good advice to tell them, hey, get a jump on it, talk to them about it, but understand that by doing so, that you have to be able to follow through with it. You have to
That's the thing
do
that's
that.
going to change your behavior. Oftentimes, talking, but the minute you write it down and give it to them in writing, and say, I've talked to you about this before, here it is in writing, that puts teeth in it, and oftentimes, that's when you see the behavior start to change, when they know you're serious.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Do you have a comment?
I just think the biggest issue with this is that the supervisor waited 3 years and allowed that kind of treatment for so long that I think the employee, when you actually do confront them about it, their reply is going to be, well, wait a minute, I've been doing this for 3 years, you've never said anything to me. Why all of a sudden? What have I done now? And then it turns into a personal attack rather than this is office policy. So maybe it might be wise for him to have a conversation with this employee, but after he has maybe some training with the whole staff about what's appropriate in the office and what's not appropriate toward everyone. It shouldn't be just toward the supervisor, but toward your coworkers. You shouldn't allow that kind of treatment to anyone. Who would want to be treated that way? So maybe rather than try the one-on-one after 3 years of this kind of treatment, bring everyone into it and let them know this is how it should be in the office, and then follow up with a private meeting with him.
Very
to
good.
let him
And
know.
I agree, and that's what Kristen brought up about the performance evaluations is, we got to train our people first before we tell them what we expect. So if that's the case at that level, at the department level, then get your supervisor to do some sort of training. There's lots of resources out there. I mean, we've got the internet, for heaven's sakes. Thank you, Bill Clinton. And he created it, right? Sorry. So anyway, yeah, we have a lot of resources and a lot of tools, so we can be the resource for our people, for our supervisors, and help them work through those trainings and get those things to happen in their departments.
Gina, thanks for saying that. I noticed that, obviously I didn't want to confront him because it's been 3 years, We talked a little bit about up here, should we bring someone else in case it gets to that level, and we decided that probably at first we shouldn't. If the behavior continued to happen, then maybe we should bring in someone from Human Resources. Me personally, I would probably go get advice from Joe, my Human Resources guy, before I talk to him to say, hey, how do I address this? I've let it go for 3 years. What do I do now? So that's good. Anything else we want to talk about?
We have all the answers, right, DHR?
Absolutely.
And to be honest, I lean very heavily on Kristen. And so if you haven't used her as a resource, I would highly recommend doing so. And I appreciate Jeremy talking yesterday. Jeremy works with Kristen in her office. And, he says that his perspective is typically after the fact. And so I've really tried to use that tool before we get to the point where it's like, okay, we want to fire this guy, now what? Or we just fired this guy, now what? So they really, even though they deal with things after the fact most of the time, they still even appreciate, because they have to do all the preparation in a case. They really appreciate the fact that we utilize their services before it gets to that point. And I want to make that point with performance evaluations again, with whether you do it on an annual interval or 6 months or whatnot. Truly, you need to kind of be evaluating your employees constantly. So if you can train your supervisors, hire the right supervisors, train them to where they can be good supervisors, and do that performance evaluation on a regular basis, then your performance evaluations will be easy. And I think that's probably a good way to train your supervisors. Say, you can make this process as difficult or as easy as you want to. If you keep it on top of things, then it will be easy.
The key to easy is no surprises. No surprises with any of it. And that's the whole process from, going through evaluations to communications to, even calling me and asking me questions. There's no surprises that way. Litigation, we don't have surprises. If there's surprises, that's what I don't like to see. Give me all the information up front, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'll tell you what I think and we'll get you through it. Don't make me have surprises at the end. That's the worst. And it's the same thing with employees too. They want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly as they go along so they can improve. I have a brand new paralegal that just started a week ago. She's never been a paralegal before. She got me ready for a deposition yesterday. She wrote me this 5-page summary. It was fantastic. And she gives it to me. She says, and when you get back to the office, I want you to tell me what was good and what was bad. I want you to really critique me and criticize me on some of these things. And I thought, isn't that fantastic? She wants to get off on the right foot, and I'll give her positives and I'll tell her some things that maybe she didn't need to do. But that open communication, she knows how to start on the right foot. And I appreciate that as her supervisor. And I think we could take that into any field that we have for evaluations, and just having that open, honest communication. It will serve you in all areas.
Anything else? Any other questions or comments? I think we're good. Yeah? Oh, and I do want to appreciate Brad. Do you see him anywhere in the room?
He has a migraine.
Does he? Poor guy. He's got an excuse this time.
Yes.
Darn it. All right. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments and your participation. That was a very good lesson for me. I learned some good things too.